enough. If someone is asking you why HANA is faster, HANA is faster because it uses in-memory computing. Okay, what do you mean by in-memory computing? In-memory computing means instead of storing the data in the hard disk, which is used by the traditional databases, SAP HANA can store the data directly in RAM. Now the second question will come. Any idea? Do you think that storing the data in RAM is risky? Again, this is something which you might have heard
Yes.
in your college days. Yeah.
Mm, uh, so my system should always be on for the data to be in RAM, isn't it? Like if any power failures, data stored in RAM may be lost. This is
Exactly.
what I feel.
Exactly. Yes. So that is a problem. That is the reason why the older databases they were not storing the data in RAM. That is the reason RAM was only used to process the data. The problem is RAM is a temporary memory. Again, you must have heard in your school college days. RAM memory is a temporary memory, which means it will only remain in the temporary memory till the time your PC, your laptop, your mobile device is on. Once your device is off, if in case of any power failure, all the data which was there in RAM will get vanished. Right? So that is something which is a challenge. If I'm saying my data will be stored in RAM, it is very risky. If the power goes off, then I will not be able to access my data. Okay. So what is the solution for this? Solution for this is SAP HANA already takes care of it. So there is again, I'm just introducing the technical terms just to make you understand that there is no problem even if the power goes off. It has been taken care by SAP HANA. So may not be you don't need to go to the each and every technicality of how SAP HANA works because you are going to be the functional consultants, not the technical ones. Okay, and that is the reason. Just remember there is something called as cache memory in the background, and what exactly this cache memory will do is immediately as soon as the transaction is posted in RAM in the background it will take the data from RAM and it will store in ROM also. And that is the reason I told you I'm not saying that ROM is not available. ROM is also available, but ROM will have a copy of the data so that if power goes off, I have something in the database in the ROM. Okay, but otherwise, my first point where the data will be stored is RAM, and backup is also stored in ROM. Earlier, what was happening? There was everything was getting stored in ROM. It was not RAM and ROM both, but now the data will be stored in RAM as well as in ROM. The reason for storing the data in ROM is to avoid the risk of storing the data only in RAM. So if the power goes off, what will happen? There will not be any data in RAM, but I can still go to ROM and pick the data. And as soon as the power comes back, okay, again, you don't need to worry. You don't need to go to ROM. Automatically, HANA is developed in such a way that automatically it will pick the data from ROM and again it will be available in RAM. So just remember this thing, otherwise it will become too complicated, it will become too technical. Just remember this thing that it has been taken care by SAP that even if the power goes off, you will not lose any data. Okay, because this question can come. If you tell the customer that now SAP HANA is going to store the data directly in RAM. So definitely they will ask you the question, RAM is a temporary memory. How can you store the data in that? So the answer is it has been taken care by SAP. The copy of the data, whatever is going to be stored in RAM, is also going to be stored in ROM also. If the power goes off, no need to worry. Data is still secure. As soon as the power comes, again the data will be available in your RAM device also. Okay, and that is the reason when we are talking about all the data will be stored in RAM, what is the minimum requirement? We need good amount of RAM. When you are implementing SAP HANA database, you definitely need more RAM compared to what RAM you were using in the traditional database because you are trying to store the data. Earlier, RAM was only used to process the data. Now you will be storing the data also in RAM, and that is the reason your RAM size should be good enough to accommodate that data. Now it totally depends upon you how much data you want to store on RAM. That also you can control as a customer. If I am a customer, if I'm implementing SAP, I can decide what data I want to store in RAM. So normally we don't store all the data in RAM. We only store that data which is important for day-to-day transactions. For example, if you go to the company, any company, and if they have 10 years of data, if they are using SAP from last 10 years, right? I don't need to keep all the 10 year of data in the RAM also. It will unnecessarily, I need to pay more because RAM is costly. So what should I do? I should only keep the data for last 1 or 2 years, which is required by me to generate my reports. In ROM, all the 10 years of data would be available. But in RAM, I will only keep that data which I need to perform my transactions faster. Okay, so this is one of the very important thing that you need to remember. Whenever you hear a term HANA, I think we already discussed what exactly is the full form of HANA in the last session. So it is high performance analytical appliance. Name itself is saying it is high performance. High performance means it is faster, it will give you better results. How it will give you the better results? Because it is using in-memory computing. Because it has a capability to store the data directly in RAM, which was not possible previously. Okay, any question on this? Have you understood in-memory computing now?
In that case, I can call HANA as a hybrid database because it is both in memory as well as ROM based.
No, there is nothing called as a hybrid database. So maybe, see, hybrid is a general English terminology which you can use anywhere. But otherwise, from the technical point of view, nobody calls HANA as a hybrid database.
Because technically, as you mentioned here, I cannot even say in-memory database. It's like in-memory computing database. That's the right word, I feel so. Like if I'm
No,
wrong, please
normally we
correct me.
call it as in-memory computing, but it is completely fine if you say HANA is an in-memory database. That is also fine. You got it, Nagesh?
Yeah, understood. But what I feel in-memory computing database and in-memory database, because in-memory databases will not have a ROM at all, right? I mean,
No, no, no,
generally
no, no.
speaking.
No, no, no. In memory is in memory. Don't get confused with this word. In memory computing they normally use, but even if I write this, the definition will remain same.
In-memory DB. Okay, fine.
Yes. Right. Okay. Coming to the second point, which is column-based data storage. Now this is very, very, very technical. Okay, and as I told you, we are all functional consultants. We will not go into details of all these things. But let me just tell you, see what happens is whenever we say a database, how the database stores the data in the background? Any idea how the data is stored in the background? In the table, if you go to any table and see how the data is stored,
The rows
let's
and
talk.
columns.
Yeah, let's talk about. Yeah, exactly, Saurabh. So let's talk about the Excel. So this is my Excel file. If I open my Excel file, it will show me some rows and it will show me some columns. Right? Very straightforward. If you open any Excel, Excel is also the database. What you are doing in Excel, you are entering the details. For example, you are entering sales details, you are entering purchase details. Okay, you are entering the details of the employees, you are entering the details of the students. So if you want to create a record, let's say I want to store this information student wise. I want to know the student ID, I want to know the student name, I want to know the module they registered for, I want to know the what exactly is their background. If I want to store all this information, what I'll do, I'll just create Excel. This will be my columns, and each and every row will contain the detail of each and every student, right? So that part, when we are talking about that important part of storing the data in the data in the table or in the database is always stored in rows and columns. Let me try to show you here. So this is a table. You can see table looks like this. Okay, let's assume this is our table. See what is happening in this table is, this is my column. You can see A, column number A, column number B, column number C, column number D. Okay, let's take the same example that I gave you. Student ID, student name, module, education background. These are the details that I want to capture in my database. So what I'll do, student ID 1, student ID 2, student ID 3, student ID 4. Okay, so name, let's say A, B, C, D. I'm just writing the information here. Okay, module, let's say FICO, MM, SD, again SD. Education background, it can be BCom, this can be MBA, this can be BBA, and this can be BE. Right, so this is the data which I captured in the table. Now, if you see this table, these are called as columns, and these are called as, when I say this, matlab, this student ID, name, module, education background. So each and every, this one, this complete A is one column, complete B is one column, complete C is one column, and complete D is one column. When it comes to the rows, these are my rows. This is my row number 1, this is my row number 2, this is my row number 3, and this is my row number 4. So when we talk about the table, when we talk about the database, normally we are able to see the data in the form of rows and columns. It is a combination of rows and columns. But internally, within the database internally, you know, it is stored in the binary form, zeros and ones, right? So those data, they are not stored in the tabular format in the database. In the database, they are either stored in this form, in the column-based form, or they are stored in the row-based form. Okay, as I told you, even if you ask this to the technical consultant, he may not be able to explain you very clearly, because this is something which is happening internally in the system. You will not be able to see how exactly it is working. But just to understand what are the benefits, what we need to understand is, when we go for column-based data storage, what would be the benefit? So all previous databases, we are storing the data in row-based form. Previously, all the databases, they were storing the data in the row-based form. HANA can store the data in column-based also. When I say also, what does it mean? It means row plus column. It is not only column. HANA can store the data in row as well as column. Now, what is the benefit? The benefit is column-based data storage results in faster performance, faster query performance, faster reporting, you can say. You'll be able to generate your faster reportings. Number one. Number two, also column-based data is stored in compressed form. What do you mean by compressed form? Simple, I tell you one thing. You have a mobile device and you have, let's say, 64 GB of memory. Okay. Now, out of that 64 GB of memory, you already reached 62 GB and your mobile device has become slow. Okay. Very common. You have 64 GB of memory. There are a lot of videos, there are a lot of songs. And now you are again and again getting the messages that your memory is going to, your memory is too low and you have to delete some of the stuff that you don't need on your device, right? This is very common. So what you will do, if it is a case of your mobile device, maybe there are a lot of songs, there are a lot of videos that you will delete and you will save some memory. But when it comes to the companies, They are not storing the songs and the images and the videos on their database, right? They have very important data that they have stored. So if their memory is short, what exactly they have to do? They may need to do the archiving. Okay, again, it is a technical term. Archiving means kind of they will take the data from that database and they will store somewhere else. Okay, so for example, in your laptop device, there are a lot of important information, but your memory is low. So what you will do? You will buy the hard disk. You will transfer the important data in the hard disk, and then again your laptop device would work faster. So you have the backup in your hard disk. That is exactly what is archiving. Archiving means you can take the data in some other device so that your actual system works faster. So this is very common in the industry that many companies who are using SAP, they need to do archiving again and again. They need to do the archiving maybe every 6 months, every 1 year, so that they can remove the older data and their system is working faster. But if you implement column-based data storage, if you implement HANA database, one good thing is you can compress the data. The data is stored in the compressed form, which means, again, taking the same mobile example, you have 64 GB of memory, and out of which you already consume 62. Now, instead of deleting the songs, instead of deleting the photos, videos, if I give you the option that go to this mobile application, it will compress the data in your mobile device. So your 62 GB of data, let's assume it will become only 12 or 15 GB of data. So what will happen? Your data is not going anywhere outside. The data is still there in your mobile device, but it is getting